Welcome to part 2 of the Squishy Cow tutorial. In this video, we'll do the patches, the horns, and the final assembly. We are going to start with the patches in the secondary color, and you will need 2 of these. In round 1, we do 6 single crochet in a magic ring. In round 2, we do 6 increases, which brings you to 12 stitches in the round. In round 3, it's a single crochet and then an increase. We do that 6 times to get 18 stitches. Round 4 is 2 single crochet followed by an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 24. In round 5, it's 3 single crochet and then an increase. We do that 6 times to get 30. Round 6 is going to be a bit different. First, we do a normal single crochet increase. Then in the next stitch, we do a half double crochet increase. So that's 2 half double crochets within the same stitch. Then we do another single crochet increase. And then we do 2 slip stitches. Then we repeat this pattern 5 more times. So a normal increase, and then a half double crochet increase, then a normal increase, and then 2 slip stitches. This will create 6 bumps around the edge of the patch. And there's the last 2 slip stitches. And then we can cut the yarn, making sure to leave quite a long tail for sewing on. Next we are going to do the horns, and you will need to make 2 of these. Using the white or cream yarn, in round 1 we do 5 single crochet in a magic ring. Now we are going to do 2 rounds of 5 single crochet. So that's rounds 2 to 3. Working with such small rounds can be quite fiddly, so just make sure your piece hasn't gone inside out. Close with a slip stitch, and then cut the yarn, making sure to leave a tail for sewing. We are first going to place the patches on, and you can either do them like this or like this. Take the short tail from the magic ring and insert that where you want that first patch to go. And just bring that through to the back of the piece. Then we are going to sew the patch on using the long tail. Just rotate the patch until you've positioned it where you want. Now we grab one stitch from the body and then go up into a stitch of the patch and down into the next stitch of the patch. And then we repeat this all the way around. When sewing large pieces together with this yarn, you can sometimes get these bald patches like this, which can make it tricky to stitch. So if this happens, you can either cut that piece off and just work with the rest, or you can sew the piece on with a whole new length of yarn. Once the patch is sewed on, you can insert that tail into the piece back to where the other tail is and knot them together and just insert that knot into the piece. The second patch will go on exactly the same way on the opposite end, and I'll do this off camera. Next we will sew on the ears. Using the yarn tail, sew through the ear to pinch it at the end like so. Just 1 or 2 stitches should keep it secure. Then we sew it on about 5 or 6 rounds from the top of the head. Once again, first grab a stitch from the head, then go up into a stitch of the ear and down into the next stitch of the ear and repeat this around. Sew that yarn tail through to the back of the head. The second ear will be sewed on exactly the same way, just on the opposite side. Bring that yarn tail through to the same point as the first one. And then we can just tie them together. Next we are going to sew on the horns, and I like to do this about 1 or 2 rounds from the ear. we sew it on exactly the same way as the other pieces. When placing the second horn, just make sure that it's symmetrical with the first. Next we are going to sew on the muzzle, about 1 round down from the eyes. Starting with the short tail from the magic ring, just pull that through to the back of the piece. Then just making sure that it's lying symmetrically between the eyes. We can sew this on in the same way as the other pieces. If you like, you can also pin it in place so that it doesn't move around while you're sewing. Once again, we will tie those tails together at the back. For the nostrils, you will need about 30 centimeters or 1 foot of medium pink yarn. I like to start off with pins where I want the nostrils to be so that I can make sure it's symmetrical. Then you can sew on the nostrils where you've placed the pins. Lastly, if you wish, you can add some detail for the inner ear. You will need about 30 centimeters or 1 foot of the white plush yarn and just do a few stitches into each ear. And now your squishy cow should be completed. Thanks so much for watching this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and give a thumbs up.